So here's a couple of small things. Shooting the Sheriff is inspired by, or I should say adapted by Kwesi from a film, and from the events that were in a film called Heritage Africa, which is a film from the 1980s, from 1989, made by a Ghanaian filmmaker, Kwesi Afrifa. And Kwesi asked me just to sort of say just a couple of things about it, which is basically the play in the way that he's adapted it. It's really about generational trauma. And in addition to that, it ends up also being about heritage, and ultimately the burden that heritage sometimes becomes. But at the end of the day, it's a piece about, ultimately about hope and about reclaiming what's lost. And on behalf of Kwesi, we all hope you have an awesome time. Afterwards, there'll be a little bit of a conversation. Folks from the production will be available to answer questions. Hang out here and have a conversation. Okay, so, have a beautiful afternoon. See you later.
Hi, Chatawale, I come like a kite.
Oh, Pedro lost his footing, but he's managed to find Eden Hazard. Hazard, yeah!
Listeners, some breaking news. Yale professor Robert SNYPER has been reported missing by members of his visiting party. The renowned African history professor had been on a whirlwind tour of Ghana for the past few days, giving a series of lectures on the Fantiba sculpture, expected to culminate in the Great Return ceremony, where the famed artifact of the Fanta people was to be returned to the Ghanaian public after decades in the West. The international community has been sent into a frenzy at the news, with several making cries to call off the event. President Kofi Addo spoke at Flagstaff House on Tuesday morning regarding the incident.
My fellow Ghanaians, when news reached me of Professor SNYPER's disappearance, I must admit I was deeply disturbed at the occurrence. We have put all our resources and the full strength of the nation's police force into finding Professor SNYPER, a man who had been honoring our great nation's history. And are confident that progress will be made soon. I call on you, my fellow Ghanaians, to aid us in this search. And to the international community, I can assure you that the Great Return Festival, symbolic of our stunning rise to prominence as a home for all Black people of the world, will go on as planned, with Professor Robert SNYPER and his Fantiba statue. God bless you all, and God bless Ghana.
The police do not suspect foul play at this time. OHEMAA Johnson reporting live from Accra with Excite News.
Is that...
ASABEA! Hello, everyone. I do hope you pardon the loud thunder and lightning and whatnot. We ghosts have very limited means of communication with the living, and often have to use somewhat unconventional methods to get your attention. Just look at my poor granddaughter. No matter, my message must be heard swiftly. So this goes well. ASABEA!
What was that thing Ma told me to say? I rebuke you with the blood of...
All that will be necessary, child. I come in peace.
What's all this then? I don't feel too at peace right now.
Child, I'm...
Stay back! And do not call me child.
Fair enough. ASABEA, I'm...
How do you even know my name?
Oh, heavens be damned, ASABEA. I'm your grandfather.
Ma never mentioned a grandfather.
Yes, that's you know.
A deadbeat grandfather? That's something you don't hear every day.
Deadbeat. I don't know what that means. Unfortunately, there is no time for doubt. This will all end soon. I have a great mission for you, ASABEA. The continuation of the quest I perished undertaking. More than half a century ago, a great idol was taken from us, and our hearts will be filled with yearning until it is reclaimed. Now this is...
But isn't that Vanzima? That professor that had it, he...
Ah! You do know what it is. Perfect. See? Well read. Just like an old man.
That professor, the one that went missing.
Yeah.
What was his name?
I'll explain more later, ASABEA. But for now, I must be on my way. There is urgent business to attend to. Take this. It will tell you where you need to go.
Go to Eja. All will be revealed. How original. Of course you're gone now. I'm sure you had more important things to do. Ghost of
ASABEA. Did you say ghost? Again? You've been having these nightmares for a while now.
No, Amma, this is different. It said it was my grandfather, which is absurd because I've never met the man, but it felt like I knew him. And that's so odd, but it was like I was meeting someone I could have met in another life.
B.
Yes?
I know you're going to get upset. But I can't watch this anymore. Come to YAPCOM's youth conference with me tomorrow. Pastor Randy is excellent at interpreting these kinds of dreams. And we can get this demonic...
AMMA, this is different. He was trying to communicate with me. It felt real.
Okay, B. I'm just saying, last week in church, someone gave a testimony about how Pastor Randy healed them from a similar affliction. And now...
AMMA, I am not going to YAPCOM to be pushed on the floor again by that man in the name of deliverance. What kind of nonsense was that?
He was overcome with the Spirit. Men of God make mistakes too, you know.
And the headaches didn't even stop.
I still think...
No.
So what did the ghost say?
It said that I don't remember.
How convenient.
No, it was a dream, so I'm fuzzy on the details. It said that it was my grandfather, and that my family had some kind of grand mission, and that all the answers were waiting for me in my job, and it gave me a piece of paper.
Paper? That's
Yeah.
odd.
And then it showed me the...
Who's there?
Yes.
NORTEY!
Our Lord has returned from surveying his kingdom, hasn't he? How was it?
I wish you could have seen it. Ghana's countryside is beautiful, with so many different landscapes filled with opportunity. It's breathtaking, really.
It's so different from Accra. Getting out of this chaotic place is refreshing.
Not for long if NORTEY and NORTEY women have anything to do with it. Soon, it'll all be 5-star hotels and neatly packaged attractions no one goes to.
Madam Social Justice has a problem with tourism now. Everyday development this, development that. How do we fund it?
No, definitely. I'm sure we'll find a solution with whatever new mall your father wants to build in Adwoa.
You know, actually, your endless tirades on this subject got me thinking as we went around the properties. When I take charge, I want to move the company in a new direction and organize trips that will take people to the rural parts of Ghana that no one talks about. Having them learn from the way of life there. I feel it will bring perspective and enlighten so many people. We will call it NORTEY and NORTEY, humanist tourism with a difference.
What? A mouthful. White saviors on wheels seems more apt.
I thought local tour guides already did the same thing.
Yes, but that system is so horribly inefficient. Imagine the economy scale we could attain by cutting out the middleman and owning the entire tourism supply chain.
My thoughts exactly.
So, what else did you do with your dad?
Honestly, we did a lot of talking about stuff. He's quite concerned about the business with all that matter with Professor Schneider and whatnot.
Professor SNYPER, the one that's missing?
Oh, yeah, that's the one. You know, he was at one of my parents' hotels in a job when he went missing. This is why I am back from the trip earlier than expected. my dad has to stay behind and manage the situation.
What? Aja, what could they have been doing there?
They were driving back to Accra from UCC when it got too late. So they made a stop. Okay, I'm not supposed to tell you this, but security footage saw him leaving the premises with that fancy sculpture completely alone. No one was with him. And here is the weird part. They said he looked as if he was in a trance.
A trance?
Yeah. Apparently, he looked possessed. They are doing this big manhunt in the village, but they still can't find him.
Yes. My first thought was that he was abducted. But that wouldn't make any... ASABEA, didn't you say that in the nightmare that you had, the ghost talked about Aja and then gave you some paper?
Hello? Hey, what's wrong with the two of you? And what are you even saying about the night?
NORTEY, don't!
Go to HR, all will be revealed. Signed, K. What the hell is this?
ASABEA, this isn't your handwriting.
We need to go and see my mother.
Can someone explain what's going on? AMMA, give me back my keys.
I'm explaining to her, let's go.
You better pay attention, it's a company call.
Very few things surprise me about becoming a ghost. Of course, there was the shock of getting shot to death, defending my ancestors, which I'm sure you all can imagine has some lasting effects. And then there's the whole affair of having to stay on Earth because you have unfinished business. Can you imagine how hard it is to finish your business when you're dead? And can only communicate through vague, somewhat relevant nightmares? Not much else surprised me. A lot of the literature is surprisingly accurate, you see. I can't touch things. People can't see me. And I can appear and disappear anywhere on command. So, accurate for the most part. Not too many surprises. Well, actually, there was one thing that shocked me. All ghosts know each other. And we talk, you know. No, we do. See, no one actually finishes their business. Look at it like this. Imagine a school where no one ever graduates. That keeps accepting first years.
So we're all connected, truly. I was talking recently to a close friend of mine, and he made the, in my opinion, astute observation that morality shouldn't really exist for us. I mean, it does, because we have a rule book that we all try to follow. But those are just guidelines, more than rules in the traditional sense, anyway. There's no penalty for flaunting them. No ghost counsel that punishes you if you take a nightmare too far. In actuality, we exist beyond that plane, because in order to tie up the loose ends that bind us to this no good earth, compromises have to be made. That's just how it is. Maybe I wasn't being fully truthful when I said ghosts can only communicate through nightmares. There is one other way. I mean, it is physically draining for us, honestly more trouble than it's often worth, but it can be done. Are you ready to hear it? Are you sure?
Yes.
It's possession. We can actually enter people's heads and make them do whatever we want. The ability comes with tenure as a ghost. I guess you just all guess. Now, like I said, it is physically draining and not that useful in everyday scenarios. At best, all the possessed person's friends think they've gone insane. But for guiding a very special person to a hole in the middle of nowhere while you patiently wait for your brave, enterprising ship of the old blood granddaughter to reclaim your birthright so you can be set free from this hellish earth. It's perfect.
What was that thing Arthur-Conan Doyle wrote? When you have eliminated the impossible, whatever remains, however improbable, must be the truth.
NORTEY, if this is your way of trying to call me crazy, Amma's done it enough times already.
No, B. I'm saying I believe you. Too many things are falling in place. HR, the notes, the professor.
Guys, this is great at all. But what are we going to tell your mom when you see her? That you're seeing the ghost of her dead father she never told you about? And show her this note?
Don't worry, Amma. I have a plan.
What plan? What will happen when she...
Hey, ASABEA. The Lord truly works miracles. He finally came home. Amma, NORTEY, come on in. Your friend never even bothers to call, so I get so excited when I see your face. Don't be so dramatic, Ma. I literally called you 2 days ago. And for our guests, anything to drink? Breakfast, maybe?
No, Auntie. We're good.
If you're sure. NORTEY, you've grown. I remember you here running around with me not too long ago. And now you're here with your girlfriend. My roommate, looking all mad at you.
It's by the grace of God, though. What's going on in your case now?
Same old, same old. I won't bore you with any details. AMMA, how's school? Computer engineering is a hard course. I hope you're not letting this boy distract you.
Auntie, I am. I don't let her do any work.
I'm not surprised. I imagine that your philosophy degree means that you have a lot of time on your hands. What? With all the aimless thinking you must do.
Auntie, it's going well. And no, NORTEY is always understanding when I have schoolwork to do.
Young love, cherish it while you can. This life. Anyway, ASABEA, come, let's get some water for your friends.
Mom, why did you never tell me about my grandfather?
That was your plan.
What do you want to know? He died when I was too young to remember.
It just strikes me as weird that there's no pictures of him. Grandma Teresa never mentioned him, and you never say anything about any memories with him. I mean, you were 7 when he died. You weren't a baby.
Why this, ASABEA? Why now?
I've been having nightmares, Mom.
Nightmares.
Yes. I see myself in them on a horse, riding through a forest, and I can't stop. It feels like I'm escaping some great danger, but I don't know what. And there's this booming voice behind me that says,
Kaoho na bonsam river.
Run from the devil.
yes, Ma, I don't understand.
What does this have to do with your grandfather?
You've been having them too?
Yes. Since I turned 18, not all the time, but they've been more consistent in the past few days. Now that you mention it, last night was the first night that I didn't have the dream.
Why didn't you tell me, Ma?
Why didn't you? I still don't understand where your grandfather comes in.
I think he's trying to communicate with us.
What?
In my dream last night, he said something about this grand mission that our family had, and that there would be answers in a jar, and that's most of what I remember.
Really? Nothing else?
That he died trying to reclaim something that was stolen from us.
Stolen. He gave it away.
We'll be on our way.
Sit down. She brought you here. You might as well hear what kind of person he was.
Mom, he said he died trying to reclaim it. He couldn't have.
Your grandfather's given name was Kwesi ATTA-BOSOMEFI. However, he changed it to QUINCY ARTHUR-BOSOMFIELD.
Quincy what?
ARTHUR-BOSOMFIELD.
Why would he do that?
Do you remember what he sounded like?
Somewhat British, but in a 50s way?
He served as district commissioner for the British colonial government and was obsessed with them. He would sing Jolly Good Fellow in the living room, bore my mother to death with his retellings of British colonial history, and hang up portraits on our walls of British kings. But he went too far.
Mom, what happened?
One day, my father discovered Archibald leaving church to go watch the oracles perform, and sent him to be beaten brutally by the schoolmaster. he became violently sick, and instead of sending him to the hospital, Dad ordered that he
Stay in bed. That will teach you a lesson.
Archie died the next day, and we later found out that it was tetanus, curable with a bit of treatment. Do you know what he said afterwards?
I don't trust that native doctor with my son's diagnosis. What would he have learned in that Negro college anyway?
I never knew that was how your brother died, Mom. Your grandmother called him a slave and a traitor to his people. What did he do?
Get out of my house, woman, and take your daughter with you.
He did what to you and Grandma Teresa? Maybe it's my fault for never telling you. I didn't want to burden you with all this. I'm so sorry, Mom.
So, how did he give them the heritage? And how did he die?
His mother gave it to him as he was next in line to inherit it. He immediately rushed to the governor, his superior, to give it to him as a souvenir. Mom, what happened next? I'm not sure. Some people say he started to have raging nightmares. My mother thinks he just went insane. But on some day, a few months later, he went to the governor's office with a rifle and demanded it back. Eyewitnesses say it was gallant, but ultimately futile. The governor had already sent it home to the crown. My father attacked him and was killed by one of his guards.
Oh my God.
So that is the man you saw in your dream. He was a cruel excuse for a father, better off dead, and we're not to have anything to do with him. Do you hear me?
Okay, so this may not be my place.
NORTEY, please keep quiet.
But doesn't that mean that you need to go to a job? If there is even a chance that the heirloom that QUINCY gave away is fanciful, that's a big deal.
And what would you know about that?
Hear me out. African religious cultures is a requirement for my course, and given all the hype around its return to Ghana, we studied Fantiba's provenance in class, which Professor SNYPER wrote extensively about. It is traditionally possessed by the Bosomfra clan of the Fante and represents the lifeblood of their people. This is where it gets interesting. It is its custodians' sworn duty to protect it. If they cease to possess it, they will never find peace in this life or the next.
So, what you're saying is...
In giving Fantiba away, QUINCY or Kwesi or whatever it's called, I has placed a curse on you and your bloodline, and you will not be able to rest until you restore it to its rightful place in your household.
So, we may end up just like him. Nonsense. That is all in the past now. We believe in Jesus, and he protects us. from any and all generational curses.
Amen.
Ma, since I was young, I felt like something was missing. Like there was this hole in my heart, yearning to be filled. Haven't you felt that too? Okay, my dear. I hear you.
I mean, we technically still need to confirm that the heirloom that Quincy gave away was Fantiba, right?
Ah, fair. You said he gave it away to the governor of the colony at the time, right?
Yes. Let's look him up. Where's my phone?
What?
What?
His name was SNYPER. Patrick SNYPER.
I'm very freaky when it comes to phones.
You're very freaky.
Freaky, like when it comes to phones. Like.
If symptoms persist after 3 days, consult your doctor.
Good evening to everyone, if you're now tuning in. I'm OHEMAA Johnson from Excite News, bringing you the latest from the ongoing search for Professor SNYPER, the Yale professor who went missing in Ija near Cape Coast a few days ago. Local authorities and international search committees have descended on the small beach town, chasing clues that could lead to the location of the professor. Ija has been under heavy security surveillance following the professor's departure, with movement in and out of the town severely restricted. Detective Donald Agbemenu has been named lead investigator for the case. He joins us live from Ija. Mr. Agbemenu, can you shed some light on how the investigation is going?
Well, of course, the police department is working round the clock to ensure that Professor SNYPER is brought back home, safe and sound. Material details cannot be discussed, but we are confident he has not left Asia. We're closely monitoring incoming and outgoing visitors to Asia, and we are leaving no stone unturned, not a single one, I can assure you, in our investigation.
Gordon Cobb, head of the multinational search committee that came to observe the investigation, suggested Wednesday morning that he had seen, in his words, gross incompetence and negligence on the part of the police department. How would you respond to such claims?
Look here, young lady. That man cannot come and tell us what to do here, you see? We have people, on the ground. We know what it takes to find this man. We are getting closer with every passing hour. That is all I will say on the matter.
Of course, Detective. Final question. With the investigation entering into its third day, what would you say to people who fear that this is not a disappearance, but an abduction, or that the worst may have already happened?
Oh, I wouldn't worry about such things yet. We are focused on finding him and bringing him back alive. And it's unlikely anyway. Off the record.
Sir, this is a live broadcast.
What use will the white man be to anybody if he is dead?
Thank you. That was Detective Donald Agbemenu, live from the town of Ija. We'll be back with the latest from the President's daily debriefing after a quick commercial break.
Our intrepid friends are arriving in Ija. Here they come.
Hey, James. How
No one except police and residents can enter.
James, don't make me sit down inside, huh? We just want to pass through.
Junior, you know say be my boss, so. But this one, strict orders, direct from Agbemenu. I can't disobey.
Let's send them a helping hand, shall we?
Guys, hello, lunch. He said there is nothing you can do. We might have to sneak in. I am sure there is another way.
Wait!
Yeah?
Good sir. I've thought about it for a moment and of course you could enter.
But what do you say we don't enter?
Caution be damned. You've been here enough times to count resident, right?
Thanks. Sound a bit different.
I'd go to that semi-abandoned building by town square if I were you. I hear it's rich with artifacts and interesting documents.
Thanks. Will do.
Wow. His English was impeccable.
Yeah, what an odd accent for a police officer to have.
That definitely wasn't James.
What?
James works for the police here, and I've known him for a long time. It definitely doesn't sound like that. Hell, it didn't sound like that when he told me to piss off the first time.
Now that you mention it, he did sound familiar. You'll think, no, that's impossible.
NORTEY did say that the professor looked possessed when he left the hotel. Maybe
We're exactly where we need to be. The professor's close.
I don't know about this, ASABEA.
Were you afraid?
Of a ghost that possesses people and forces them to do its bidding? Why aren't you?
NORTEY, you wanted us to do this.
And I still do, but let's be careful. So,
I agree. Now, where's this building?
down the road, just a few minutes.
Okay. Let's go.
Is it insanity to think I led myself to this fate? I certainly don't recall being forced here. But the damned apparition that haunts my repose and torments my every waking hour makes me think otherwise. Perhaps the two notions aren't contradictory, but so deeply intertwined, they're inseparable. People perish. But this symbol I hold in my hand so unceremoniously, whose significance, admittedly, I cannot begin to fathom. But have I not made amends? My whole life I've heard you crying out to me. And I've listened. I've studied. I've toiled. And I return an eager servant begging for repentance. And this is my end. Dying in some hellhole. Must you visit the sins of the father upon his children? Must you take my life too? Have I not been as devoted a custodian as anyone else? Could be a fair exchange. I profited from your mysteries. I'll admit it. But I kept my end of the bargain, didn't I, Fancy?
Professor!
What is it? Another apparition? A sick trick of the mind?
Professor, are you in there?
Help me! Help! I'm trapped! Thank heavens. I thought I would never make it out alive. Thank you so much. No. Who are you? Are you a plainclothes officer? Amazing. Good God, I'm starving. What's your name? I'm sure you know. I'm Professor SNYPER. What did you say?
I'm ASABEA ATTA-BOSOMEFI, and...
So you do speak. You say ATTA-BOSOMEFI.
And I'm here for Fatima. Your father,
Oh, maybe. I know the story. Better than you, in fact. I was there. Did you trap me here? Was this all some elaborate plot to take Fatima away?
No, a ghost did.
Oh, you brought friends too. How lovely.
Listen, it's unexplainable by the rules of logic or even myself a few days ago, but I was called to be here in a dream. Fatima is my birthright. And look, you seem like a great guy, and I'm so sorry that you got caught up in all of this, but...
What's up in all this? So you know. And what do you know about Fatima beyond what I myself have written on the subject?
What do you mean?
I've given up everything for it.
What do you mean?
I don't have to tell you then.
How else do you see yourself getting out of here?
Every night, for the rest of his life, Fatima haunted my father with its mysteries. And when he died, it visited them upon me.
Couldn't have been that bad, given your papers on its provenance made you famous.
Ah, you're right. They were gorgeous. Tales of an empire long past. A beautiful culture, before it was turned to ashes. A people with an almost divine purpose. As I studied, I saw the connections no one else could, lost to the turning tides of history. I chronicled the story of her people, and let the world know.
But it wasn't yours to tell.
Whose was it then? Your grandfather's? We know how that turned out, don't we?
You have no right, none at all. Don't you Judge Kwesi, when it was men like your father who constantly told him he wasn't enough.
Quincy, you mean? You know, now that I remember, I actually met the man.
I don't care.
Commissioner Quincy ARTHUR-BOSOMFIELD. Such an interesting character. Probably the most British person I knew growing up. I'm not even exaggerating. He had this undying love for Queen's glorious Commonwealth. Hell, he even imprisoned hundreds of his own countrymen in its service. If memory serves me correctly, the last time I saw him, he was with a much younger woman. And this can't have been more than a month after his son died. And he expelled his wife, your grandmother, I think, from the family home.
I said, I don't care. Give me Fantaba now.
That's fair. I will do no such thing. I worked with the president to come to Ghana and return it to the people of this country.
Why? The ATTA-BOSOMEFI family doesn't have the same ring to it? Won't get you the platitudes you seek? You've milked it for everything it can give you, and now you want to dump it.
Oh, please. And what are you going to do with the supposed soul of the Fante people anyway? Lead them to war against the Asante? It's a relic, I suppose. A powerful one indeed. But it serves no use to you or your family.
That is not what you said at Legan.
And you are?
A friend of ASABEA's. You said that if the custodians of Fantiba lose it, they will.
I know! I know what I said. But that was law, spun carefully by the family, your family, to protect its status. Now, I believe in Fantiba's power and your inherited claim, but it serves a different purpose now.
You haven't felt this yearning I feel deep inside. It calls out. Don't interrupt me! Professor, give me Fantaba now. I won't ask again!
ASABEA, listen to me. The emptiness you feel will not be filled with this, okay? Fantaba takes, and takes, and takes, until there's nothing left to give. Ask your great-grandmother. Ask your grandfather. Hell, even ask my father.
I'll decide that for mine.
Oh my, such tension, right? All right, let's finish this.
So, Professor,
I'm so proud of you, my daughter. You are most deserving of our family's greatest.
Amma, find the cast that goes out. What are you doing?
Well, it's only a matter of time now. I will be ascending to join the ancestors imminently. They didn't call me. Why didn't they call me?
I mean, you're finally a full-blooded British gentleman. You even have the skin color to match. The ancestors wouldn't take that away from you so soon, would they? You're so selfish. You abandoned your family, tormented my mother and me with nightmares for years. Also, you could ascend to be with the ancestors and live out your happily ever after, without a thought as to what that would do to us?
ASABEA, you misunderstand me. All this I did for you and your mother. Fun to raise our birthright.
But you gave it away. Did you ever think that maybe owning up to your actions and begging God for forgiveness would have worked? Returning Bantaba will never be atonement for your sins. You don't deserve redemption, grandfather. Not then, not now. You must bear the consequences of your actions and walk for eternity in the middle world.
Let her speak.
Our family never found peace, but it wasn't because of Bantaba. It was because of you. Your mother died of heartbreak right after you. Grandma Teresa was so stung by your betrayal that she was never the same again. And my mother, she had to pick up the pieces. She carried the entire family on her back for years. And you know what she said to me? She told me that having me was the first time she felt capable of loving someone. You did this to our family, grandfather. Nobody else.
Don't look at me like that. I've had 60 long years to ponder every action, every thought I ever had. You don't think I know I was wrong? I see you judging me. Well, that's the easy part. Good, evil. Your painfully banal, mortal judgments don't apply to me. I'm above that. Above you all, really. Imagine that. A villain in my own story, once again. Some things never change. What happened?
Good morning, viewers. This is OHEMAA Johnson, reporting to you live from Excite News headquarters in Accra. 2 days ago, an anonymous tip, the source of which authorities say cannot be tracked, led to the discovery of Professor SNYPER trapped underground in an abandoned building in Ija. Miraculously, the professor was left unharmed, though Fantiba, the sculpture he meant to return to the government in the much-fated Great Return ceremony, was nowhere to be found. He joins us in the studio for an exclusive interview with Excite News. Hello, Professor.
Hello, OHEMAA. How have you been?
Professor, I think the question on everyone's mind is how you've been. I can imagine it's been a difficult week.
Yes, it has. I've been slowly making attempts to readjust after everything that happened.
Terribly sorry about that, Professor. I wanted to ask you a bit more, if that's okay with you. How did you get down into the secret room of an abandoned building in Ija? Were you abducted?
Well, OHEMAA, I wish I had that answer myself. From my point of view, I went to bed in the end resort in Ija, and I awoke alone in some god-forsaken hidden chamber. I must have been taken. All common sense points to that interpretation of events. But I certainly never met any of my supposed abductors.
So you didn't come into contact with anyone during those 3 days of isolation?
With the exception of the rescue party, none at all.
Professor, there have been reports of you leaving your hotel room alone in the dead of night with Fantiba in your hands. What would you say to those who believe that the artifact's disappearance was possibly an inside job?
I would say everyone loves a good conspiracy, don't they?
But you must admit, the situation is somewhat strange. You're unharmed, with no trace of Fantiba, and no recollection of the events that led you there. There must be some explanation, right?
Agreed, AMMA. But the suggestion that this was some sort of master plan on my part is disingenuous. My family owned Fantiba. Now, I wouldn't need to voluntarily starve myself of food and water just to make sure I held onto it, would I?
That's an interesting point you bring up, Professor. How exactly did your family gain possession of Fantiba?
As you may be aware, my father was actually acting governor of the Gold Coast for a short time. And I'm not too sure how he got it, honestly. He died before we could ever have a real conversation about it.
Surely he must have told you a story here or there. A brief anecdote, perhaps. You've written so much about Fantiba's origins that it's difficult for me to accept that you have no idea how he came to get a hold of it.
He always said it was a gift from an associate. Nothing more, unfortunately. I do think this situation is uncharacteristically apt for the situations archivists like myself often face, and really proves the ongoing need for better documentation of the provenance of important African artifacts like Fantiba. Now, this may come as a surprise, but it's easier to infer the importance of Fantiba to the Fante people by poring over pre-colonial era documents than it is to investigate the more recent history of its extraction by colonial powers of the West, my father included.
Professor, given this history, why return it now, and not within the past 50 years of your ownership?
I think you underestimate the difficulty of returning artifacts to people that have not asked for them. I made many attempts to do so over recent years, and no one seemed particularly interested. The Ghanaian government finally responded to me in the past year, and I happily oblige. It really is as simple as that.
Are you suggesting that the renewed interest in Fantiba only stems from the Great Return initiative spearheaded by the government?
No, not at all, not at all. I'm simply suggesting that I was contacted about a return in the past year, and I was more than willing to do so.
Final question, Professor. Where do you think Fantiba is right now?
Well, that's the £1,000,000 question, isn't it? Fantiba is far too important to be lost to the wind or some uncaring charlatan. And I will do my utmost to ensure that it is returned to its rightful place.
Thank you. Viewers, this has been an exclusive interview with Excite News. Stay tuned for more. Fatima is right now?
Well, that's the million-pound question, isn't it? Fatima is far too important to be lost to the wind or some uncaring child. And I will do my utmost to ensure that it is returned to its rightful place.
Thank you. Viewers, this has been an exclusive interview with Excite News. Stay tuned for more.
We actually did it.
We are going to jail! We aren't going to jail!
Glory to Jesus. Pastor Randy will love this testimony in church tomorrow. Obviously, I'm joking.
Now, I just have the problem of trying to hide Kana's most famous artifact.
ASABEA, I'm happy for you and all, but you better not be trying to leave that thing in our room. Get that demonic entity far away from me.
I don't know. Still not too sure how Ma feels about it.
How do you feel?
I feel happy. I think. At least it's back with the family. But a part of me still feels like this was more for him than it was for us. Like I was tricked into inheriting his fight.
Do you think the professor was right?
No, he wasn't. And he changed his mind, didn't he? He told you to keep it. And he didn't reveal your identity on live TV. That must count for something.
Being possessed by a ghost must have put things into perspective. But really, what did all this accomplish?
Well, for one, that president you dislike so much must be beside himself with anger, given that you've stolen the centerpiece of his lavish events.
Don't say that, NORTEY. What's he going to tell his beloved international community now?
That feeling I had, like something was missing. Still there.
Look at this way. Fatima was never the end goal, but a small step in the journey. You had to figure out your family demons.
Don't call her grandfather that.
In order to truly understand the present and future. I think that's worth it, honestly.
Yeah.
So, what will you do if your grandfather comes back?
I don't think we have to worry about that, thank God. I think he should know by now he has no more business with me.
Amma, if we are going to probably head out.
Are you sure you don't want to come?
ASABEA, come. My parents constantly ask about you, and the chef made that like so much.
The chef. Sometimes you forget you're part of the problem.
I am sorry, Miss, my mother is a lawyer.
You know, we can cancel too and just stay here if you want.
Oh no. I think I'll just stay here and rest. Maybe go see Mom. You go and see Mr. and Mrs. NORTEY and tell them I say hi. Also, send Chef a copy of my progress.
Good luck, B.
See you soon, love.
I think I speak for everyone when I say I'm getting tired of your tricks, old man. What do you want?
It was you.
I'll ask you again, one last time, old man. What do you want?
You've been holding me hostage. All those times, I listed those nightmares upon you. Trying to get you to hear my message. It wasn't that you couldn't hear me. You were just ignoring me.
You were never as smart as you thought you were, Dad. You dared to bring your nonsense redemption fantasy upon my daughter and traumatize another generation of ATTA-BOSOMEFIs. Wasn't the evil you did to me, AMMA, enough? The funny thing is, she actually did it against all the odds. And here you are, still wallowing in whatever no man's land you call home.
Now, Penelope, I know you despise me. I have to at times, but when are you going to let me?
And I will! For another 50 years. Anything to make sure you stay right where you belong. How did you figure it out anyway? I would have thought it beyond you. Was it ASABEA? When you possessed SNYPER's son? She's the best of us all, isn't she?
Penelope, forgive me, please!
My dear father, I will do no such thing. Best of luck with reaching the afterlife.
You know, you end up exactly like your old man, right? Rotten in purgatory. We both have unfinished business now.
You manipulative! Even if that were true, it would be worth it.
Ah!